Hello and welcome to Talking Games match preview. Dinamo Zagreb against West Ham United, the Hammers' first ever Europa League group stage game. Gonzo, how are you feeling towards it? Are you excited?
I'm really looking forward to it. They're absolutely 100% looking forward to it. Much more, Geo, than the attempts that we had. If you remember, we qualified under Sam Allardyce because we were the least naughty team in Britain, which was really nice to be good boys. But you wouldn't suggest we qualified on merit by being good at football, which is really what it should be all about. We just weren't horrible. So that didn't really count. And then of course we had a campaign which we did win on merit, which was obviously based upon our last season at Upton Park, but we didn't get to play that until our first season at the Olympic Stadium. And I think it really went against us. If you cast your mind back to that first 6 months at the Olympic Stadium, fans were fighting each other. The stewards were telling people to sit down and shut up. And it was just terrible, wasn't it? I didn't think it was a very good environment for European football, and in particular for an alien surroundings. There was no benefit. It wasn't like a home match, was it? Because we were looking around thinking, oh, where are we? Just as much as the away fans were. So this is different. I feel more settled. I feel we've got a settled team. I feel we've got a settled manager. I think a lot of the fans are obviously a lot more accustomed to the stadium. Obviously, I know we're not playing in the stadium for this particular game, but I mean, for the start of a European campaign, it just feels more solid. Does that make any sense? I'm just looking forward to it more. It just feels more on merit, really.
Yeah, I'm buzzing for it. I've been wanting to see us play in a European competition, well, for a long, long time, like most of us as well. I've always been a fan of the Europa League. Would I be a fan of the Europa League if I was a fan of Man City or Man United or Chelsea? Probably not. I'd probably look at it, look down my nose at it a little bit and think, oh, that's a bit of a Champions League and nothing. But we aren't one of those teams. So when you get into the Europa League, it's a big occasion. It's a big deal. It's fantastic for the club. It's great for the stature of the club. Would Vlasic have joined us without the Europa League football? Possibly. Would Zuma? Possibly. But we will never know. I think it's an incredible occasion for West Ham, and I'm thoroughly looking forward to this game on Thursday as well. Dinamo Zagreb are our opponents. Do you know too much about them, Gonzo?
Yeah, they're a team that are based in Zagreb in Croatia. They're very, Geo, I know next to nothing, but they're very good, and they are comfortably the best team in their country. So it's just our luck, really. Rampant in the league, Geo. Just clicking. I looked at the league earlier. I'll just have another look. I mean, realistically, and I don't mean this to be offensive at all, but Dinamo Zagreb and Hajduk Split are the only teams that really you hear of, and they're very, very good. I say comfortably. They're top of the league. They haven't lost. They've played a game less, but they've won all of their games thus far, as I understand it. So, good team. Top scorers pretty much every season come the end of it. And obviously, but they had to come through pre-qualifiers for this year, which was interesting because they beat a team called Sheriff to get through. Which I thought
they lost to Sheriff.
Did they? Oh, they did. Sorry,
that was a Champions League qualifier. That's a Champions League playoff.
They're crap then. Yes. Sorry. All the better. They're crap. We're going to win. 3-0 win. Very confident. Thank you very much. Thanks for tuning in and subscribe to the One Football app.
Anyway, the facts regarding Zagreb, I think this is the facts. They're top the league in Croatia at the minute. 5 wins from 7, 4 clean sheets in their last 4 games as well. They got beaten in the Champions League playoff by Moldovan side. Sheriff, as Gonzo rightly pointed out, hence why they're in the Europa League group stage. Last season, they competed in the Europa League group stage as well, winning the group, which consisted of 3 decent teams, CSK Moscow, Feyenoord, and Wolfsberger as well. They went on to beat Tottenham in the knockout rounds in the Europa League, and they got beat 2-0 in London, took it back to their place, won 2-0 after 90 minutes, and then scored the 3rd goal in extra time to beat them 3-0 on the night, and put Tottenham out of the Europa League last season before going on to get beat by Villarreal, who of course went on to win the competition. So in terms of Europa League, European stature, they have a lot of experience. Does this come into play for you? Because this is one thing, if there's anything we are lacking, it is that we are lacking the experience in European football, because I do think it's quite different to Premier League football. I think the referees are different, the way the game's officiated is different, the atmosphere will be I imagine something like some of our players have never experienced before over there.
I'm not so worried about the players, Gio. I've got to be honest with you. I think we've got so many foreign players who played in other leagues that I don't think that matters. I mean, on the one hand, the videos this week have certainly been touching on the fact that was our game against Southampton hindered by the fact that we had players on international duty? Well, I think it probably was, but then you can't have it both ways. If you've got players on international duty being included, they're going to be used to be travelling and playing. So I don't think that's really it. And when you start to look at, as I say, the composition of the squad, all the way from the goalkeeper to look at Soufal, Ogbonna's played international football, played for Juventus. You go throughout the team, and yes, there's a smattering of players who have only played in England, but we have a lot more experienced players in there. You look at someone like Yarmolenko, who may well feature in this game. Vastly experienced player, played all over Europe. No, that doesn't bother me. But Zagreb are infinitely capable of winning this game. And I wouldn't even go as far as to say, I'm pretty sure the British bookies will make us favourites for this. Pretty sure about that. Don't know, haven't checked. But I would imagine there's not an awful lot in it. What does worry me in terms of experience is David Moyes, because it's that he wasn't somebody as well as he did at Everton. He did do remarkably well. He wasn't somebody that qualified for Europe and then thrived. Look at Roy Hodgson, for instance. Now, Roy Hodgson was a very, very different kettle of fish. He had actually managed all throughout Europe. Yes, I know Moyes done it as managed in Spain for a little while. Hodgson, vastly experienced coach, and actually when he got the opportunity with Fulham, he took them to the final. Even look at somebody like Steve McLaren, who again, he went abroad and he managed FC Twente to the Dutch title. He got into this competition. He was experienced in Europe. Again, I think he got Middlesbrough to possibly the final as well. I don't see that sort of pedigree or that sort of experience with David Moyes. Doesn't strike me as somebody that has thrived in Europe. So that's the thing that worries me, Gio.
Interested. Right before we talk about West Ham, just quickly make sure you download the OneFootball app. If you know nothing about the Dinamo Zagreb team, that's all right, because they're on OneFootball. Get it downloaded. When you select your favourite team, West Ham, you'll keep up to date with all the latest team news ahead of Thursday's game. Match previews on there as well, and it'll give you a little snapshot of Dinamo Zagreb as well, with including a few players to take a look out for. It's the best football app for the football fan, and it's completely free. 5:45 kickoff on Thursday evening means at 4:45 you'll receive a notification on your phone saying this is your West Ham lineup for this evening. We'll find out exactly what David Moyes has done. Is he going full strength or is he rotating? It's all in one place on the OneFootball app. Link in the description and pinned comments. Get it downloaded today and keep up to date with all the latest West Ham news. I think this one's the toughest fixture on paper, Gonzo. I think this is the toughest fixture for us in the group stage. I think Zagreb have that experience of European football. They know how to get, I do think the officiating is different on a European night than it is in the Premier League. You sometimes more gets given in the Europa League and the games flow a bit more. We saw it in the Euro Championships. The referees let a lot more go than they do in the Premier League. You saw occasions players, not necessarily playing for England, but playing for other countries that play in the Premier League, going down looking for free kicks, and you could see the referees saying, "What are you doing? Get up and get on with it." And I do worry that we're going to have to sort of slightly adjust a little bit. And the only way of doing that is once you work out the officiating, if you want. And to do that, you need to play games. So I think the first game, be interesting to see if we are fully prepared or if we're a little bit rabbit in headlights for the first couple of games of the group stage. But an exciting time for West Ham anyway. So let's talk about our West Ham team, Gonzo. There's been a lot of debate on social media as to who people want to see. Some teams want to see first 11, cup final 11, as I would call it. Others want to see 5, 6, 7 changes to the team to keep the team fresh for the Premier League. So let's talk through it one by one. Goalkeeper. It's a 50-50, isn't it? Fabianski or Areola? Who would you like to see?
I'm going for Areola for this one, mate. It's time to take a look at him, really. Nothing wrong. Clean sheet for Fabianski. That's great, but let's have a look at Areola for this one.
Yeah, I completely agree as well. It's not even to do with Fabianski's form. I think it's just a fairness thing. Had Areola started against Southampton, I'd be saying, let's put Fabianski back in and keep Areola for Sunday. It's almost like you've got a Premier League goalkeeper in a Europa League goalkeeper. And until sort of that switches due to form, but you need form before you can switch it. So this is where Areola can show us what he's got. So he's in goal for me. In your defence, how would you like to see us line up at the back?
I'd like to go with Sufal, Zuma, Ogbonna, and Cresswell.
Yeah, 100% the same for me, actually. Is it important for you that we take this seriously, if you like? Because I've seen some people wanting, Fredericks play or Ben Johnson play, Masuaku, maybe Diop and Zuma. There's all sorts of combinations defensively for this one.
But this is the same argument we deal with every season when it gets to the cup, and people complain. I'm not saying they're the same; they might be different people, but I often find that there's sometimes it'll be the same people who demand that you qualify or do well in a cup or qualify for European competition, and when you get there, they say, "Well, save yourself for the Premier League." And I think we've seen a little bit of a different story to this one, because previously, when the famous teams like Burnley or Ipswich that have qualified for European football and then struggled, they didn't start the season like we have. We've started the season well. We're really solid. So we've already got 8 points on the board, something like that. Those teams didn't do that. So we already have a nice little springboard there, Geo. It is important that we take it seriously. That doesn't mean not the rest of my team. I've got a couple of changes in there, but they're not changes to make it weak. They're changes because I think it's going to make the team stronger. What's the point in getting it if we're not going to take it seriously? Let's get the points on the board. And then once we get to 9 points, I know 9 points doesn't guarantee you top, but let's get to 9 points. Then we can start swapping around, getting some players back in the Premier League, and then just try and get those final 2 or 3 points that's needed to win the group.
Hey, your midfield?
Well, the two, because I'm playing a normal formation that we would normally play. I'm going for Souček and Král.
No Declan Rice?
No, I think Declan is... there's three main reasons. Number one is I feel Declan's looks a little bit tired, and I think that's nothing against him. I think he always does after he's played for England. I know they gave him the Andorra game off, but I still think he looks tired. So I think just give him a rest. I also think it'll give him the motivation, because he'll think, I would have liked to have played in that one. I think you'll see a heavily motivated Declan Rice against Man United, and we'll need that, and we'll discuss that when we do the Man United preview. The other thing is, I think there was this big thing about let's get European football and keep Declan Rice. I don't think it's going to make a blind bit of difference anymore. I think that ship's going to sail, whatever happens. So I don't think us just allowing Declan Rice to play European football for the sake of it is going to make him think, I love West Ham. West Ham are a team on the up. I'm going to stay at West Ham. I don't think that's going to happen either. The other reason, and this is purely going back to what you said about Zagreb being an experienced European team, you are absolutely right. Well, you know what? By us playing Sufal, Souček and Král, we can import straight away directly into our team half the Czech team, who, again, these are experienced European players, not just at international football, but exactly and precisely at this level. And then we've seen how Souček and Sufal link up. We'd also then see how Král and Souček link up as well. And I think what we'll be able to do is, with that there, I think we'll be able to manage our way through the game. And there are my three reasons for doing it.
Oh, no, I would Declan Rice is the first name on team sheet for me. I think because of lack of experience and stuff, the first thing you need on that pitch is leadership. And Declan Rice brings that. And, if you don't have Rice, I would argue you perhaps need Mark Noble. So I'll ask you who your captain is. Once I've got the rest of your 11, I'll ask you who your captain is for the evening. But I think Rice is the first name on there. These boys have worked their nuts off for 38 games last season to get us into the European football. And while, yes, of course, Declan Rice has played in bigger and better games than Zagreb away for West Ham. He just played in the Euro Championship final a few months ago. But this is a massive occasion for these players, a massive occasion for this football club. And imagine players last season want to be involved in it. We sit here and we say, what's the point of qualifying if you're not going to take it serious? I bet the players are thinking, what's the point of us qualifying if you're not going to play us in the competition? We've got there. We want to play in these games. And I take your point about Declan Rice being tired, but Declan Rice always seems to get less tired once he builds up momentum a little bit. Once he gets a run of games, he seems to be accustomed to it again. And I don't think it's, I don't know. I would just Declan Rice the first name in the team sheet for me for this one. I think it's pivotal that we have Rice out there, because often we can get a little bit erratic, if you want. And Declan is the one running around telling everyone just to calm down. Southampton in the first 10 minutes, we were really sloppy in the first 10 minutes against Southampton. Our passes were going awry. And there was a through ball. Ogbonna was out of position right for a goal kick. And you can see Declan Rice screaming at Ogbonna, saying, just calm down. What are you doing? Just calm down. Just stop it. And I think you need that. I think Rice has to play. I mean, I debated sort of in my own 11. Rest and Souček for this one. I thought we'd have bring in Lanzini or Kral, either or really. But Rice must start for me. Anyway, I think further ahead the team, I think we're going to agree to some extent. But let's jump straight to the striker. Because I think before Saturday, we would have said, no Michail Antonio. Antonio must not even travel to Croatia for this one. But has the red card changed it for you?
Yes, 100%. Yeah, I play him. Let's unleash the beast, so to speak. He can't play against Man U. I just think it's simple. We want to win this game. We want to win this game. There is going to be some mixing of the squad. And do you know what? And it's not either or with this squad, Geo. You know, some people are saying, I guess I'll play really strong, some people say really weak. Well, you can just change the odd player here or there, and you're going to have to do that throughout a campaign. And it's almost thrown us a free pass on that one, isn't it? Really. So yeah, let's play Antonio in that. It's taken the decision out of our hands. He doesn't play against Man U.
Yeah, I completely agree. I think I did a video yesterday, but Europa League should be our number one priority now. That's why I'm not going on about why Europa League we should field a strong squad like Gonzo for sake of repeating myself. But I will repeat myself on Michail Antonio, and that is he must play. It is as simple as that. I think this could be a blessing in disguise in the long run. Short term, red cards at Hampton, you're thinking, oh, you stupid boy, now you can't play against Man United, and you're a bit disappointed. But now it says to David Moyes, we'll play him on Thursday now. It's sort of before, I wasn't really expecting to see Antonio at all in the group stage of Europa League. Maybe 1 or 2 home games, but certainly not the 3 away games. I was expecting him to be left behind London. Moyes touched on it when the transfer window closed. He said, I would have liked to have got a striker in. Then he said, we're going to have to look after Michail. We're going to have to sort of manage him so that he doesn't get injuries and stuff. And I took that as a hint. He will not be playing in Europa League very much. You know, I'm not going to risk him. And I would have agreed with that. But it's changed now. That red card changes everything. Michail Antonio has to start on Thursday night because, yes, we have a cup game next week. We'll deal with that later on. But I will say this now. I don't care if Antonio starts in the cup or not. I'd rather he didn't. Start him Thursday and leave him till the following weekend against Leeds United as far as I'm concerned. Then at least 3 attacking midfielders in possibly 4 players, unless Gonzo going with a curveball. But you've got your Bowen, Vlasic, Fornals, and Said Benrahma. Manuel Lanzini you can consider too. Andrei Yarmolenko with the experience in European football. So you've got plenty of options. Who are you picking, Gonzo?
Vlasic, Lanzini, and Fornals. Yeah.
I agree with Vlasic. I think Vlasic is important because he looked sharp against Southampton. He's very likely going to have to start against Man United. So I think it's important you get him in this team. And while I say the strongest possible, some would argue that he is in the strongest possible 11 for West Ham. Certainly in 6 months, you would expect him to be in our first 11. I think this is a good opportunity to put him in. We speak about lack of experience. And, you know, do you know that phrase in football? Play the game, not the occasion.
Yeah.
Is there a danger that Vlasic will play the occasion? Because he used to play for Hajduk Split, the rivals. West Ham fans have been told by the police in Croatia, do not wear a West Ham shirt with Vlasic on the back of it. Basically saying, you're asking for trouble. If you walk around Zagreb with Vlasic on the back of your shirt, that's your own call. Big game for him. Full debut for West Ham possibly and against his old rivals.
I didn't know about that, what you just said about the shirt and the police and this, that and the other. But obviously, I clearly had looked at it, thinking there is nobody better qualified in the whole West Ham squads to play against his team. He understands them inside out. I guess if it's that feisty a rivalry, and why wouldn't it be? These rivalries wherever you go across the world are always like that, aren't they? It just depends how feisty he is and how seriously he's going to take it. You got to assume, though, that he's not a nutter, and you got to assume that actually he's.
He doesn't mind a booking.
Does he not? Okay.
No.
You got to assume that his focus will override that, and it will allow him to be sort of motivated and focused to go in there and get the job done, and be able to not just. I would expect Moyes to have picked his brain beforehand, but actually be able to impart on his teammates throughout the game bits of information and bits of advice that may well help us along. So I do actually think the pros outweigh the cons on this one. I think he has to be involved.
Yeah, I agree. He looked our best attacking player. on Saturday. He didn't play for very long, but he came on and immediately started dribbling past Southampton players. Something we were lacking with Benrahma, Fornals and Bowen. Nobody really took the game to them. I felt he did that. And like I said, against Man United, he may have to play. So he probably will have to play. So it'd be good to get a look at him. But when I spoke about Rice with leadership, Rice will lead through leadership vocally. And Vlasic has a little bit of the Thierry Henry leadership about him. I mean, I can't remember who it was. It might have been Ferguson, might have been Arsenal. Someone said, one of the top managers of the Premier League. I wasn't listening to Steve Clark or Steve Keane, the old Blackburn manager. It's not one of them that said it, right? This is a manager with credibility said some players will lead through how they play football. It's not vocally, it's not telling people to do stuff. They get the ball and they make something happen and they lead through that. If there's ever a game Vlasic is going to do that, it's got to be this one. Away in his home country against his old rivals, the crowd will be jeering and booing him and everything. It's set up for him being the Marko Natovic when he was at West Ham away to Stoke City. You turn up, you do your business, like if people do the talking, and the fans will love you for it. I've also gone with Fornals inside Benrahma. No Bowen though. Why have you left Jared Bowen out? Because I'm intrigued to see if it's the same reason as I have.
Yeah, purely European experience, which is exactly why I've put Lanzini in there. Actually, two reasons for Lanzini. One, just experience of playing in different leagues and living in.
I was about to say Lanzini's never played European football. He played for Abu Dhabi or something.
Yeah, I know, but that's to be fair, mate. Before he got his injury, he was playing Argentina, training with the Argentinian team and whatnot, and also his ball retention, I think, is on his day is the best in the squad. And I looked at it, okay, look, Souček and Krau, it's not really what they do in terms of really crisp, precise passing. It's not really what Vlasic does from what I see. He's going to travel with a ball a lot. On the last Antonio is going to travel with a ball. I thought Benrahma's probably going to travel with a ball as well. So actually, let's get a couple of passes in there in Fornals and Lanzini, which was my reason for doing it. But yeah, Bowen's got no international pedigree. They are different. I know what you're saying. All right, has Lanzini played all the leagues across Europe? No, but he hasn't. By the same token, he hasn't played in the Championship for Hull either. So I just think this is probably, and that's not to insult Bowen at all. I'd have Bowen back in for Man U as when we'll discuss it, but for this one, I just think Lanzini's the right pick. I think you need a bit of calm, particularly if you have someone a bit feisty there as well. And Lanzini does play a calm game, and you need to control it in Europe, control the tempo.
Yeah, I get that. I think I would have liked to have seen Lanzini on against Southampton. I thought Lanzini is exactly what we were missing against Southampton. I thought, get someone on. We were trying the same thing over and over, and it wasn't working. I thought, well, Lanzini's probably the one guy on the bench might offer you something different. But the reason I would not play Bowen for this one is because I think he's going to be our striker against Man United.
Sure.
So for that reason, it's sort of like, while I don't want to rotate the team and think about the Man U game, I think you'd be naive not to have one eye on the Man United game going into this one kind of thing. But at the same time, this game's the priority. It's the first and foremost priority. You pick your team for Thursday. Whatever happens. Then you pick your team for Man U probably on the plane on the way home. You start thinking, right, what players have picked up knocks? Who can I play kind of thing. I'd expect Moyes has got a team for both games already. I would imagine he does. I felt that in the past when we've played midweek games and weekend games, midweek games, I often feel going from one game to the other, and Moyes had this game planned before the one we've even just played, because sometimes you do rotation regardless of player performance. He would already do the rotation, like he'd made up his mind that this is what I'm doing. But for me, Bowen would start against Man U as a striker, false nine, whatever you want to call it. And the reality is, if Bowen picked up an injury on Thursday, we're buggered against Man U. We are. We have nothing up front at all. Jared Bowen's all we've got. And also, the backup plan is Yarmolenko for this game. If we need a goal, Yarmolenko's the first player I'd be looking to bring on in this one, regardless of who it's for or how the game's going. He's the one. While you speak about lack of European experience and stuff, Yarmolenko's done it for seasons for Shakhtar. He did it in Ukraine before going over to Dortmund. He didn't play for Dortmund because of his big injury and stuff, but he's got, he's possibly Ukraine's number one all-time goal scorer behind Shevchenko or something. This guy's done it in European football, whether it's internationally or in the Champions League. So I think we'd be a fool not to cash in that should we need to. But one thing that benefits West Ham and every other team going into this competition is the 5-sub rule. Remember on Thursday night, it's Europa League, which means 5 substitutions, which could be key. Are you confident for this one? I mean, well, that's a hard question, really, because you don't know Zagreb, so it's difficult to gauge. But how's the Gonzo vibes?
I can't be confident. I don't know enough about them, and I'm not so sort of cocksure of West Ham or even have that much knowledge of the opposition to be confident, Geo. That they could be really good. I wouldn't surprise me if they are. They're that being said, they got knocked out by a team in the Champions League, a team called Sheriff. So who I've never heard of. I don't know. They could be good, bad, or indifferent. It's very, very hard to tell. But they are going to be massively up for it. And you also wonder about raising your game. Whoever Sheriff are, I honestly don't know. You'd imagine that the Premier League team is a bigger scout for them. Ideally, would they have dropped out of the Champions League? No. But you said what they did last season, and that was I felt it was quite an impressive European excursion for him last season. So I think it's really, really hard to be confident, but that's not going to impact how much I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, I would sort of echo that a little bit. I'm not too confident, but that's lack of knowledge on Zagreb. That's looking at Zagreb from a mathematical point of view, looking at it statistically, which is they won their group comfortably with 3 decent European sides in there, put Tottenham out of the Europa League, and I think it would be foolish to sort of dismiss them because we don't know enough about them. There's probably Zagreb fans that don't know enough about West Ham, and they'd be foolish to think, oh, well, we'll turn this lot over when they turn up. Never play a Europa League game, we'll get the pyro on and intimidate them, and we'll win the game comfortably. It's a difficult game to predict. I'm doing a video for tomorrow on the Patreon channel with a Croatian fan. He's not a Zagreb fan, but he does like a Croatian football podcast, so he knows all about the Croatian league and stuff. To get a little bit of insight, I should have done that before this, but times and stuff, I couldn't manage to make it happen, unfortunately. But I'm looking forward to it. I think a point would be a good point. I'd be happy with a point so far. I think, given it's our bow in the Europa League group stage, and there's a few players, like you said, with a lack of experience and stuff. It's quite quick after. It feels quick after the Southampton game. And then we've got Man United, 2 days later. The home games, I think, is when in European football, I think you've got to make your home games count more than you do in the Premier League football for that instance. So for a point here, I'd be happy with that. Get the point on the board. Move on to Sunday. Now, with all that said and done, a bit tricky, a bit difficult, but can I get your score prediction? Any final words you may have?
Yeah. Lots of final words. I haven't thought of my score prediction yet. I'll get there. Look, win your home games, get 1 draw away. You're through. So it's simple as that. It would be a good result. Whilst I've remained cautious and I've said I don't know an awful lot about them, I do feel what happens with a lot of English teams is they come a cropper, because I think it's fair to say that English teams, with the exception of 1 or 2 clubs, PSG and Madrid, but by and large, English clubs have the pick of the players around Europe. If there's somebody playing well in a team, in a league, we can go and one of our teams can go and have them. We can pay the 30 million or whatever it is. We just go and get a player in a way that a lot of other clubs can't. The 20 richest clubs in European football are mostly English clubs, right? You've all seen it. So it's fair to say that that's the case. So I think it's also fair to say that by and large, we have better players from the English league than a lot of these, particularly countries like the Croatian league and so on and so forth. Their best players leave that league. That's just what happens. So I think English teams are guilty of going out and playing in European competition with a swagger and with an expansive game. And sometimes they get caught out because actually teams just sit back, hit them on the counter. We're not going to do that. That's not West Ham. We're not going to go out there puffing our chests out, flicking the ball all over the place and saying, look at us. We're going to be solid at the back. I expect Moyes to revert back to his cautious standard model that he has. And I think that will really benefit us. The other thing, and I think I was really pleased that you touched on it, which was you referred to whatever, you didn't say it, but you go to these European games, they throw fireworks and stuff like that, set off pyrotechnics and all of that sort of smoke bombs and this, that, and the other. That does happen. But what Moyes has done at West Ham is Moyes has built a squad of characters. You mentioned about, I didn't answer you about the captain, by the way. You asked who the captain would be. fine, Souček, whatever. We've got a load of gritty, determined characters. Moyes seems to scout us. Make it Soufal, crikey. Our squad is full of players like that who just have got needle, who are aggressive. And actually, our team are not the type of team that are tactically going to be put off by a European game because we'll sit tight ourselves, or B, be that worried about a smoke grenade going off in the crowd. A lot of them have seen it before. They're not going to be that bothered. I don't think it'll put us off our game or our tactical plan. I actually think we can go out to Zagreb and I think we can win 1-0.
Yeah, well, Declan Rice sums up the reaction to Pyrone for England. He picked up the cup and drank out and threw it back at them.
yes. Yeah.
Bring it on if you want.
He's got COVID now.
Yeah, what I will say is, while you were saying that teams go out with swagger and that English teams, I also think they go out with arrogance sometimes, which is we are better than you, we are going to win the game. And I think they get caught out sometimes. They come up against a better team, perhaps not better individual players, but a better team. Sometimes a team that just wants it more. And I do think there is sometimes snobbery from the European Super League 6 from England when it comes to the Europa League, that this is a competition a bit below us. We are Champions League teams, almost doing you a favour visiting your ground tonight. You've sold out tonight, could have come to see the Arsenal. Congratulations. And I think sometimes you see that on the pitch in the performance. They get found out. I don't think we're going to do that. I don't think we're going to turn up with that. I think we are a good team as well as good individual players. I just hope Moyes puts out a serious 11. I don't want to do the build-up show on Thursday. And we've got Fredericks right back, Johnson left back, Diop centre back. We've got Kral starting midfield, Yarmolenko's up front. And that's my fear. My fear is we make far too much changes and it becomes a bit like a Carabao Cup team. This is not Scunthorpe away in the third round of the Carabao Cup. This is Dinamo Zagreb in the Europa League group stage. And I hope we put out a team capable of competing for this trophy from the start. Because I want to win this competition. It's easier, I say that. There's certainly less games anyway to win the Europa League and get into the Champions League than there is to finish fourth in the Premier League. I would argue it's better for West Ham to focus on the Europa League to get in the Champions League that way than it is to go through the Premier League format and finish fourth and get into the qualifiers of the Champions League. I think it's easier for West Ham. Winning this group's important. You win this group, you go into the last 16. Second, last 32. Still not the end of the world, but you skip around. You skip traveling to a country. You skip two games in there. Third, you go into the last 32 of the Europa Conference League. It's almost difficult to get knocked out of this group. Only fourth place gets knocked out of European football. But the reward for finishing top far exceeds second or third in the group. I want to see West Ham finish this group top. And I'm going to go Gonzo. I'm going to say Dinamo Zagreb 0, West Ham United 1. Anyway, if you enjoyed this preview, drop a like on it, subscribe if you're new to the channel. We will be live at 4:40 on Thursday evening, looking ahead to the game with the lineups coming through from our One Football app. Get downloaded, link in description below. And Gonzo, I'll see you Thursday.
Look forward to it.